Well, she got a standing ovation at the MTV Music Awards and just rocked the house at the Essence Empowerment stage on Saturday, where Representative Maxin Waters preached her brand of intolerance that she supposedly took on intolerance. Listen, we know she's no fan of President Trump, but she really doesn't like Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson. She told the audience, quote, Ben Carson knows nothing about the mission of HUD. He doesn't care about people in public housing. He believes if you are poor, it is your own fault. And he doesn't know the difference between an immigrant and a slave. And then she warned Secretary Carson, if he thinks when he comes before my committee that I'm going to give him a pass, I'm going to take his blank apart. Yikes. Listen, Ben Carson talks about the ills of public housing and its role in cradle-to-grave poverty, a life of dependency. And when he does it, people say he's a bad person. But give me a break. The fact of the matter is, anyone trying to protect the status quo should ask themselves if they really care. Let's face it, something is horribly wrong with our system. Mr. Carson has fresh new ideas, and for that, Maxin Waters is going to take him apart and rip him a new one. You know, how about we rip the system a new one and free everyone from their current day slavery instead? Here to discuss, Gina Loudon and Amy Holmes. Amy, let me start with you on this. It's so frustrating because all Maxin Waters does is complain and threaten and complain and threaten. People don't want to hear what Ben Carson has to say because it sounds rough, but it's a rough situation.
And how long has she been serving in office on Capitol Hill, and what has she done for the black community lately? I think a lot of people would be asking when we have shootings at an all-time high in Chicago, the economy in Detroit. Not that she's necessarily responsible for those particular parts of the country, but certainly in crafting policies to help move America forward, and in particular the urban community. But Charles, I would point out something else that I take great offense at is how often Democrats think it's okay to attack a black conservative. So, for example, Al Gore, back in 2000, when he's running for President of the United States before a black audience, he said, and I won't nominate a Supreme Court justice like Clarence Thomas. He didn't say like Antonin Scalia. He singled out the black conservative because apparently that's a category that can be mocked, demeaned, and attacked with impunity from the Democratic Party.
Well, also, Gina, that's a category and that's a group of people who are very dangerous to the Democratic plantation system, right? I mean, yes. Progressives, their power comes from fear. That's what they deal in. And once they lose that element of fear, once people start to believe, hey, you know what? I am loved in this country. I have opportunities in this country. And they lose their power base, they're in trouble.
Yes, this is the ultimate in utility of human beings. Maxin Waters is the biggest hypocrite on this issue. She wants to keep black people in a needy situation where fathers are removed, because they're relying on social welfare. Black men are emasculated and black families are destroyed. And then they have no chance to crawl out of the poverty and join the middle class or the upper class, because if they do, she knows she loses their vote. And that's what this is really all about, is her own power and money. It is greedy, it is insidious, it is honestly one of the most repulsive things about the Democrat Party, and it is exactly why they are losing, and for all the reasons that Amy listed as well. But here's one thing more. What if Dr. Carson had said this about her? Would there not be screaming media outrage from the entire alt-left media right now, Charles, if Dr. Carson had said this about Maxin Waters?
Right. Of course, he's such a gentleman, though, that would never happen. We did see, though, this
Can't even picture it, but yeah.
We did see in this past election, though, where this sort of playbook backfired on Democrats with middle-class and lower-middle-class whites. And to a degree, it's not written about, but it also backfired with blacks in a sense they didn't come out to vote. They weren't energized by Hillary's message and the same old victimization stuff. So maybe it's running thin with all of their key constituents.
Well, it's interesting. I had a conversation with Donald Trump's pollster during the campaign, and they found in focus groups and in some of their internal polling that Donald Trump did very well with college-educated, small business owners, black males. That particular group, that Donald Trump's message really resonated. But I'd also ask the question, Charles, why do Democrats all of a sudden think using swear words makes them edgy and hip? Kristen Gillibrand, the New York Senator, Tom Perez, the DNC chair, they think just throwing out these, curse bombs all of a sudden is going to work.
Yeah, Jiminy Crickets. All right, let's leave it there.